God exists. God's with me. I don't have to do anything else other than just be an honest man. I just have to go to God. And this starts a very different journey than what most people in AA go down. Today I say sobriety is spirituality. You can't have one without the other. And it's all God. And so my walks literally turn into me today. I say a lot of the times, you want to walk with me when I sit down with people. Let's walk together. And then I share this approach to God. To get to God, you got to make the approach. You got to date. You got to have fun, and you got to open up. And in my story, as I'm doing these walks now, and they're more beautiful walks, and I'm more honest, and I'm slower, and I'm more
you still
present.
Talk to God on the walks?
All the time. Because you know what? I never had a fatherly figure in my life really sit down with me to say like, hey, son, how are you? I felt God do that to me every time I was talking to him. How are you? I was like, let me tell you about my day. And I would say silly things. Like, this is how it used to be. It still is like this for me today.
Wow.
The best relationship with God. When you could say anything. And don't think for 1 second that like he doesn't even know what you're up to, because he knows in the first place. He just wants you to be honest. Like a relationship.
Yeah.
It's like when you're in a good marriage, your wife, or for that matter, your husband, like when you're really in the marriage, you know each other.
Right.
When someone lies, you're that's for me. That's God, and God's like, Ari, come on. You don't think I know you struggled today? I saw you. You know. So I would say silly things, and I'd say, this morning was hard. I had these thoughts. I went to work. This person said this to me. I didn't know how to handle it, so I didn't say anything. Maybe I should have said something. I started talking a lot to God.
Wow.
And I didn't even know what I was doing. I just was talking. Didn't call it prayer. Just talking. Conversations on my walks, dating God. And as I'm going through the AA steps here, I mean, because now I'm at that third step. And when I said, I offer myself to thee to build with me and do with me as thy wilt, that was a pretty easy step for me to take now that I knew that I have God and God loves me. So I keep going with this step work, and step 4 is this inventory that you're creating. And step 5 is about sharing that inventory with someone. Step 6 and 7 is really about, more of this thought life and conversations with God and introreflection. It's steps 8 and 9 in Alcoholics Anonymous and a lot of these A programs. They make you go back into your life. And today there's the Jewish term I'm going to use for it, which is tshuva.
Yeah.
For AA and those not Jewish, you're going to make things right. Mm-hmm. You're going to make amends. Not an apology, an amends. So I'm on steps 8 and 9 here. I got a long list of people. I left nobody out. Everybody was on my list. School teachers, peers, managers, old directors, everybody was on the list. Because there was a word that was used in Alcoholics Anonymous in that book that said all. You have to make them all. And when I read that, what I read was what I think the real meaning here is, that God's saying, hey, do you see everybody around you? That's not your family. Those aren't your friends. Those aren't your teachers. Those are all my kids. And so I read the word all, and I said, well, I mean, even just me being in front of someone, I was so unavailable. I owe them something. So I had a list of like 300, 400 people on this list.
Wow.
And I got busy making these amends. 1 amends, 10
You're just
amends.
calling people out of the blue.
I would call them up. I would say, hey, do you have time this week to meet? Because on the phone wasn't going to do it.
Wow.
If I'm real, if I'm genuine, I need to show up. I want to sit in front of you. I want to look at you in the eyes and own up to who I was. Ex-girlfriends, one-night stands I had. Everybody was on the list.
Wow.
And I did it, and I followed through. 1 amends, 10 amends, 20, 50, 60, 70.
It's like a full-time job.
Full-time job. I'm out and I treated it as such, because it was like I would call this gentleman, Jordan, who was taking me through these steps. And it gets funny with Jordan. because something happened.
Jordan's a spiritual Jewish guy?
Yeah, Jordan's the quote unquote sponsor at this time, which today, the guys I walk with today, we don't even use this term anymore, Jordan included in this. But what's sweet about Jordan's story, topic for a different day, but Jordan eventually ends up slipping up in a capacity to call me because he goes, I want what you have.
Wow. And
he said, how did you get there? And I said, Jordan, remember all those walks I was going on? And he goes, yeah. And he was like, remember? I was like, remember when you told me on those walks, maybe sometimes bring like a trash bag, pick up some trash, like just get outside yourself. And he goes, yeah. I go, did you ever go on walks and pick up trash? And he goes, no.
That's great.
I go, and he goes, so what do? I go, I think you should go get a trash bag and go pick up trash and talk to God.